Hard times create strong men. What's up, everybody? I'm Alex Mendoza. Today I want to talk about a little bit on this book that I read, Hard Times Create Strong Men by Stephen Arnio. Overall, great read. I really enjoyed it. The beauty about reading books is that you don't have to agree with everything. There might be some things that you read and you're like, okay, I like that. I'll take that nugget with me, right? And there's also a lot of things that you might be like, I don't agree with that. I'll disregard that. And I applied that to this book. Overall, I really enjoyed it. However, there's also things in here that I do not agree with. Now, you can read this book on your own, but today I want to share with you page 400 and 401. Very interesting here. There's a poem that goes like this. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Moving on. Through the hard times of civil war, of invasion, the hard times create strong men again, and the cycle is set to repeat just as history seems to repeat itself every 80 years or so. 40 years on an upswing, 40 years on a downswing, and 80 years is the magical number because it is 40 times 2. 40 is an important magical number in human history because there's a saying, by the age of 40, man has seen all that he can see. Traditionally, throughout history, men have lived to be roughly 40. The number 40 is also important in the Bible. Jesus, Moses, and many others fasted or meditated for 40 days. 40 years is how long it takes for the pendulum of society to swing entirely in one direction. To go all the way into good times takes 40 years. 20 years on the way to good times, and 20 years swinging back to the middle, back toward hard times. Then the pendulum swings back into hard times. 20 years getting worse, and then 20 years getting better. The entire cycle of history looks like this. And then he shares a little chart there of that 80-year history there. So, right here, he talks about from 1929 to 1933 was the Great Depression, right? So kids that were 10 years old during that Great Depression, they're seeing some tough times. Those same kids living in the Great Depression, by 1939, 1940, they start seeing World War II. These kids are going to war now. These young men. The Nazis are conquering most of Europe, right? And these guys are going to war. They're seeing their loved ones, their friends and family. Some get caught on fire, right? I don't know if you can see the graph there. But these kids, these young men are going to war. They just saw the Great Depression. They come back from war. They're missing limbs. They build a house for his wife and a family, right? With their bare hands, if they have hands, right? So these guys are some tough individuals. They saw some really tough times. And that can kind of tie in with our society today. Our millennials know nothing about tough times. And I think that's why we have a very soft generation right now. These guys like to cry and complain about everything. Oh, it's too hard. Oh, it's too hot. Oh, I don't want to go to work today. Oh, I don't feel like it. Men with no purpose, no work ethic, right? No integrity. Now, the last time that we saw tough times was at 1940 roughly, World War II. You add 80 years to 1940, it adds up to 2020. We're in 2020 today. We're seeing some very strange times. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens within these next few years. Nobody can predict the future. However, I am a firm believer that history repeats itself. And it just repeats itself in different formats, different pictures. So I'm curious to see how history comes back around this time. For instance, let's take a look at the masks. We had a pandemic back in the early 1900s. The whole thing is repeating itself now. So hard times create strong men. Another thing that he touches on here is that nobody really cared about a man's happiness. Nobody came up to these guys and asked them, hey, are you happy working at the factory after you went to war, after you lived through the Great Depression, and you got to come back and provide for your family? Are you happy about that? Nobody cared about a man's happiness. He just had to get up, be on his purpose, and do what he has to do. Am I saying that happiness is not important? Absolutely not. But I do agree with nobody really cared about a man's happiness. Nobody ever will. I personally believe that. That's my opinion. I know a lot of people might get their feelings hurt, but I think we should do what we got to do, whether you're happy or not. So, great read, great book, page 400, page 401. These ones really caught my attention. I wanted to share it with you guys. I think we've forgotten what tough times are like, and that is the reason we have very weak men today. Strong Men, Great Hard Times. Great read. I recommend it. I'm Alex Mendoza. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.